Do you ever feel stuck? Are you finding yourself wondering, how am I ever going to start this business? Or how will I figure out my side hustle? Do you sometimes feel like a total fake or even an imposter? Do you feel like you're faking it until you hopefully one day finally make it in your business goals and dreams? If this is you, we totally get it, and you're in the right place. Jessie, Lauren, and Mel are three besties who come together weekly to discuss our businesses and things we're learning along the way. One day, we realized that we all felt like imposters, but none of us thought the other was. We all just needed a little extra help that we give freely so that we can all achieve our goals. We share real life learnings in real time to get you from where you are to where you want to be. Expect positive vibes, great conversations, strong female friendship, women supporting women, and a business education that you didn't learn in school. Jessie is your girl for real estate and design. She turns boring into beautiful. Lauren is your go-to for product creation. She makes products that make your life easier. Mel is a mindset coach, and she helps women live their dream lives. Together, we are Imposter Women, and we're here to help you chase your dreams unapologetically. All right. Welcome, everybody, to episode 1 of Imposter Women.
Woohoo! Let's do it.
We are so excited to be here today. And as we kick off the episode, we were thinking we would introduce ourselves. And we're really excited to meet all of you who are listening tonight. So we are Mel, Jessie, and Lauren, and we are Imposter Women.
We are Imposter Women. Yeah, I can give a little background as to why we chose Imposter Women as the title. And this really came out of the three of our meeting over probably the past year, maybe more. Every week we would meet in our mastermind and discuss goals, achievements, successes, and also stumbling blocks and hurdles that we'd been going through, and really support each other aggressively and really help each other flesh out next steps, solve our problems, and just create success among the group. And it had been incredibly successful. We had launched several businesses out of it, which we're all really proud of, and kind of got to the point where we still were having a conversation about what does it mean to be an imposter. And it really came down to the fact that even if I said I felt like an imposter, Jessie and Lauren didn't view me as an imposter. And it just really was shocking. And then, the other girls would say the same thing. It was shocking to all of us that we felt that way, but really weren't expressing that or really enacting that in other people's eyes. So we thought, if we all feel like imposters, we can't all be imposters. That would be impossible. So here we are talking about unapologetically chasing our goals and the fact that we aren't imposters at all. We're all just here trying to live our best lives and step into our power and be the women we want to be. And more than that, to aggressively support each other in whatever we want to achieve in our life.
Absolutely. I feel like we've laughed on the back end that getting everyone here to listen is a little bit of like a bait and switch. So we got you here thinking that we're here to talk about imposter syndrome, but we're actually here to tell you you're not an imposter and really lift you up. So we're excited that everybody's listening to us. Mel, you also said something I think really great that would be awesome for our listeners to understand. So we have some history with one another and have really gotten to watch each other grow over the years. So we all met back in grad school, and it's been crazy enough. What, 6, 7 years now? 6?
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been a while. So it's been really cool, to Mel's point about like aggressively supporting each other and helping lift up the women in your life to really achieve their dreams. Like, we've gotten to watch each other go from students and working multiple jobs and like trying to make this thing happen to living in the corporate world, and now every one of us starting our own businesses in some capacity, which is really what continues, I think, to bond us, is just like pushing each other forward more and more.
Yeah, absolutely. And so much has changed in that time. And it has been such a privilege of mine to watch you both develop and start to chase those dreams and explore, like, what does it mean to be creative? What does it mean to have dreams that weren't necessarily something that we were conditioned into, but actually stepping into that, and the discomfort that comes along with that. And I think that's really where we start to feel like imposters, but it doesn't always have to be that way.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
So we each have really cool businesses that we're starting right now. And one of the things we want to do with this show is, hopefully for all of you listening, you have a business idea or you've started a business already, and you also want to grow it. So we're being really honest here. Like, we're going to learn alongside all of our listeners, and they're going to hear us struggle right along with them. And we hope it's really encouraging. But I'd love to share what we're each doing, and I can kind of dive in on that. So this is Jessie talking, as you learn all of our voices. So my husband and I are starting a real estate investment company. So Gallo Family Homes was born in 2021 and is really a company. He is now a licensed realtor, so he is helping people buy and sell homes. But ultimately, our vision is to really create wonderful spaces for people to live. So we are learning the ropes of all kinds of different real estate investing. We are finishing kind of our first project right now. We had a rental that we just are finishing up cleaning and getting ready to list. So I can't wait for future episodes to tell you it's sold. We're moving forward, but that's really the vision of the company we're building, is eventually you'll be able to rent a Gallo family home, buy a Gallo family home, and go on vacation in a Gallo family home. So we're excited to see that really grow and to be able to be in a family business, which is what I grew up watching and something I've always wanted to create.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you two. Those houses are going to crush.
They are.
Your renters are going to have like the best experience.
I have said I will not rent or sell anyone something I would not live in. And Mel and Lauren can attest, I have pretty high standards, y'all. So they're going to be nice places.
I can't wait to vacation in one.
Oh, yes. An experience awaits you. So that's just like a little snippet. In future episodes, I'll talk your ear off at some point about where we're going. But that's what Gallo Family Homes is and what I'm building. Lauren, you want to share? You've been quiet over there so far. Tell us what you've got going on.
Yeah. So I'm Lauren, and I'm working on a couple things right now simultaneously. I have more of a health and fitness background. So I was looking at creating some different YouTube channels and promotional materials and such regarding free fitness programming, and just creating workouts so that you could do them in the comfort of your own home, and using the environment around you and what you have. And so I'm really excited to kind of work on that stuff. And then the other stuff that I'm working on is more of that product base. So I've been getting more into candle making, and that kind of funny story has evolved from chapstick making. I have a major addiction to chapstick. I've been addicted since, I think 7th grade. And then I remember I was leaving for, I did the Peace Corps, and I was leaving, and someone got me a pack of like 25 chapsticks just to take with me, and I definitely went through them very quickly. So it has been something that I'm always purchasing and buying, and one day I was like, I should just make my own. And I started making my own, and as I went down the exploration world of making my own, I started getting interested in learning about candles and some of the other body products out there. And so I've been making my own candles and just testing them out, and I'm really excited to start actually sourcing them and putting products together that you can buy and have in your own home.
Yes. I think Mel and I had one of the first candles.
I think you did.
Actually, I have mine still. I'm still burning it.
Oh, nice.
She's a beauty.
Yay. So far, they're all soy wax. So yeah, we'll see how it evolves over the years.
I'm still rooting for the chapstick business. You make the best chapsticks on the market, no question.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
I remember putting a big order in and then I gave them to all my friends, but I like definitely kept like 6 of them for myself. Still making my way through them, but I love them so much.
Good. I'm glad to
I mean, you've done all the market research as a super user, so there's no option but really good chapstick from you.
Exactly. And I've definitely been tested living in the South with the heat and what melts and what doesn't melt. So it's really fun to just change your environment up and try all your products out.
And you are a fitness pro as well. Like for that, and that's something I remember about you from grad school. And this is just like a story that I was thinking about the other day. Was that, do you remember when I would sneak into your spin classes?
Yes.
Because you were the instructor?
Yes.
And they were undergrad classes, and I was clearly not an undergrad. And you know, everyone knew it. Everyone was like,
Right.
"Who? Like,
Who
she
is
is
this
not.
girl?"
She doesn't go here."
Right.
And I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And I was super into it, and I was like, you know, making all the noises and singing all the songs that you do in spin class. And I think eventually someone found out, or it was kind of like not cool for me to do that anymore, so I stopped.
Well, we enjoyed having you in there. You brought the energy.
I was just reflecting your energy, girlfriend. But yeah, you are a fitness prodigy over there. I love what you're doing.
Thanks.
I've gotten so turned on to the home workouts in the last couple of years too that like
Yes.
I'm ready to be your first subscriber.
Thanks. Yeah, you still have a workout video that you gotta get through. So
Oh, I sure do, and I'm gonna do it. It's been a little crazy over here.
it took me like a month to send you that. So
I'm just gonna take equally that long to do it. It's fine.
So for everyone listening, Lauren made a demo or a prototype fitness video and sent it to Jessie.
right.
I did not receive a copy yet.
Took some serious coercing. I had to lobby for that video.
It is a completely raw footage. Like it is rough, but we'll get there. Now you'll get a version soon in the next month.
Dude, I love raw. Just get it done, you know? Rip the Band-Aid off. Love it.
Definitely.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll be keeping it on my inbox. So.
There you go. Well, Mel, you are like the queen of, in my mind, taking giant leaps in your
Yes.
life and in your business. So, speaking of just getting it done, tell us all about your business.
Yeah, thanks, Jessie. That was such a lovely intro setup. I'll try to justify it. So I went full time in my business, I think in October 2021, and I'm a mindset coach for women who ride motorcycles. And if that sounds niche, it is incredibly niche. I'm pretty sure I made it up as far as I know. But it really stemmed out of my love for riding motorcycles. I'd been riding for over 3 years and started to recognize with women in my life, but also with myself, that it is such a mindset game when we try to step out of our comfort zone and learn new things, expand our identity, and just really challenge ourselves in new ways for positive growth. And I held myself back for so long because I didn't want to ride. I wanted to ride, but I didn't think I could do it. I didn't think it was possible. I wasn't cool enough. You know, I felt like an imposter, right? And now I know that I wasn't. Those were all just normal things related to mindset and limiting beliefs. But I started the business as a way to encourage other women to ride motorcycles and more generally just to live their lives unapologetically and do what they want and be who they want and support them in that sense. So I have a coaching practice. I do one-on-one coaching as well as group coaching. I have an online course with basically everything I wish I knew when I started riding motorcycles, just to kind of reach out my hand and help the next generation along to go further, faster. But, you know, since October, I've launched that online course. I have a journal selling on Amazon, which I just can't even believe that some days. I have a YouTube channel as well. So I'm trying to take quantum leaps every week. Sometimes it's successful, sometimes not so much, but I wouldn't change it for the world. It's been such a journey, and the fact that I get to meet with you two lovely human souls every week and help talk through these problems and solve my problems, find amazing solutions that I would never find myself is such a privilege, and I'm just so grateful.
Honestly, I think that's like the best part of this podcast too, is hopefully that's the thing I really hope for women listening, and for anyone listening, is that they get out of this that we're learning along the way. Like, we're all taking big scary leaps
Yeah.
all the time. And I mean, even this podcast, like we're learning tons of new things just getting this on the air for them to hear. And I
Yeah.
hope in people hearing that, they hear that it's okay to feel stuck, and it's okay to feel like you don't know what you're doing, because no one knows what they're doing. And I think,
True.
like, as women, we really put that on ourselves, maybe even a little heavier than others. And so I know I've gained so much from spending time in this group, and just like you said, Mel, like being nourished by one another and really like lifting each other up. And I'm so excited for the community we're building to be able to take that same thing home with them. It's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And something that I love about being in community with women, like-minded women with similar dreams and goals, is that we do take the time, and it is a safe environment to be vulnerable. And that's something that this group has been. I'm getting chills thinking about it. I'm emotional, but there are so few avenues in the world where you get to be like truly vulnerable, to show up and be like, man, today was just really rough, or like this happened, or this whatever. And to have like really empathetic responses, but also not just oh, that sucks, too bad, oh well, but like, okay, how do we solve this together, and what's the next step here? And that has been incredible for me. And to your point, Jessie, we're not experts. And I kind of like that, for so long. And I've always looked outside of myself to other podcasts and to websites and to YouTubes. And I owe so much to the internet for that free knowledge. Like, I could never repay what I've learned. But I also think it can be really tough to relate to someone with a top 30 podcast globally. And I love that they have a story and a message, and they're absolutely crushing it. But I also think sometimes it's really helpful to look at that person who's maybe 1-2 steps ahead of you, and to say, okay, how did you get there? And what's the next step from where I am right now? Not from like me to making $1 million in a year, but like, what's the next realistic step for me that is achievable, that isn't going to discourage me or make me feel like I'm not further ahead, or I should be doing this when I'm doing this. And as entrepreneurs on this journey, and we're all at such different points, I think that has such value too, because we can collaborate in ways that is new and challenging and exciting for all of us.
I just want to echo off that, Mel. We originally started this mastermind. God, it was probably a year ago, and I just look back to, at that point, you weren't ready to start a business yet, and like how much you've grown, and then we added in some other friends, and Jessie came on, and just to watch each person grow in at their own pace, at their own time frame, to watch the hiccups and the struggles, and then like the awesome, phenomenal moments where you're like, oh, I just killed it, I did this, and like honoring those small successes has just been such a journey. And I hope that that's what our viewers can get from this as well, is that everyone moves at their own pace, everyone has their own journey to follow, and that's what we're here to share with you, that some days are going to be tough, and some days you're just going to kill it, and you got to remember the little things, those baby steps that get you to the ultimate goal. So
You're so spot on, Lauren. And that's something we've really pushed each other to do, is to celebrate those wins. Like, it's so easy to be focused on the tough stuff and the things you're learning and things you don't know and all the ways you feel like an imposter, and to forget, oh my gosh, look at all these things I've already accomplished. Like, oh my gosh, I already have a book on Amazon. Lauren, like for you, you've already taught fitness classes. Like we forget to look at the things we've figured out, we've done, and we've accomplished. So we haven't talked about this, so I'll throwing an idea here live, but I'd love to, as we go, hear from our listeners too about what they're accomplishing. Like it'll be so cool to get to celebrate our listeners the way we celebrate each other. So send us your wins as well.
The weekly wins. That's what we want to hear.
Weekly wins. All right. A segment was just born.
Weekly wins, but also this is, as Mel said, a place to be vulnerable. So if there's stuff that you are struggling with or you want some more support on, that's what we're here for, is to support and share our experiences to raise each other up to be the best versions of ourselves.
Yeah, tell us what you're trying to learn.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we can address it in real time and learn it together. How fun would that be?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then also, just on that, a thought on that is, we don't promise to have all the answers either, and entrepreneurship is such a journey, and every day feels like a new beginning. And like some weeks, like I have this theory, right, that I'm like, okay, no, I'm having a comeback. Like I'm having another comeback. Like I just had a dip and now I'm coming back. So sometimes every day can feel like that. But, I think with this podcast, we can continue to support each other in that way. And again, just share those learnings, because even though we have such different businesses in completely different industries, these entrepreneurship themes are so common, and they're like undeniable truths. You start a business, you still have to market it. How do you do sales? Like who knows how to get a URL? Like, do you need an LLC? If so, when? All these things are universal, and if we're learning them, like why not just share them with the world? Because it would be we could just go further faster together in incredible ways, like exponential.
Absolutely. And we're all in such different walks of life too. Like to your point, Mel, we're in different industries, but we're also in different areas of the country. We're in like different spots in our kind of personal journeys and in our careers. So I know one thing we've talked about that I think is going to be really relatable for people is where we're at in our lives and adding business to that. So, we're going to talk about what's it like to deal with health issues while starting a business. When do you go full time? How do you know when it's time to plunge deeper? How do you deal with getting married while starting a business? How do you deal with moving while starting a business? Like these are all things we've faced or are facing and are going to address along the way with our listeners.
Yeah. And something that brought up for me, Jessie, is even just like the journey to deciding that you want to start a business as well. And this is so common in the world right now. Everyone's kind of like, gosh, like what is my purpose? Like what am I here for? Does it make sense to work 60 plus hours at a corporate job, 80 hours and for a paycheck? But like where's the balance in that? And what are we really here on this planet for? And what are our unique sets of gifts that we can contribute to the world that is like unique to who we are, that no one else can replace or imitate? So I'm excited to talk through our journey on how we landed on our business and decided what our strengths were, and kind of how we play to those every day in achieving our goals.
And to echo what you said, Mel, one of the things that we were both talking about, and I've just been reflecting on my own feelings throughout this, I definitely was not ready to record today. And so being here and being present and we are going to town and working with these two awesome women. I've just felt like, oh my gosh, they know so much. It just comes so naturally. And I'm like, say something. No, don't say something. Say something. So even creating a podcast, like when do you go into business with your friends? Can you take an idea that you have with some great friends, a significant other, anything like that? And when do you go into business? And just pushing yourself outside of those comfort zones. Sometimes you might not think you're ready, but deep down, you really are ready. So, and it's just having, that's one of the beautiful things about our group is that we just push each other to that next level where it's like, you are ready. You just got to have that confidence in you to move to the next level. So,
yeah. That analysis paralysis is so real. I think in every industry and even project by project sometimes. Like I know Mel mentioned like the reinvention constantly. And I think that's something, we all, every person listening and every one of us has built up skills in our W-2 jobs and in our volunteer lives and our personal lives too. And that's something in my work life, because full disclosure, that's where I'm at in my business, is that I'm still working full time. My husband's transitioning out slowly, and eventually we'll get into it full time for both of us. But in my kind of W-2 life, we joke all the time. I run a 115-year-old nonprofit, and we joke that it's a 115-year-old startup. So I think this like phase of reinvention never ends, really, if you're going to stay relevant. So we're definitely earlier on in the stages of our business, and I know we really want to help people in those early stages too. But I could totally see somebody who's 5 years down the road who feels like they're running into a wall and they need to go back to basics. So come on down. You can join us back on the ground floor.
Oh my gosh, that is resonating so hard right now. And I was thinking about it today or yesterday, where I was like, every day is a bit of a struggle. Not every day you like wake up and you crush it and you just hit it out the park and you like tick all your to-do lists off. But I started to think about it as like, that's when you're doing it right. If you were just crushing it every day, and you probably would be playing small, or you would be out of alignment, or maybe not doing something challenging enough. But I think this whole idea that it is hard, we never feel ready, we always feel like imposters, and sometimes we need our besties to push us over the line. It's like, I think that means you're doing it right, because like, if you don't feel ready, you might have a bit of fear there, but it's also like, that means you care. And we've kind of talked about this a lot, but the idea of like leaning into like that discomfort or that fear to be like, okay, so maybe I care a lot here, and I don't want to fail because this means a lot to me. And or maybe it's that this is a big stretch for me and I'm learning something brand new. None of us have recorded a podcast before. This is insane. But we're here, we're doing it, and like, we have the tools. It's all about being resourceful and supporting each other, because I know we all had individual ambitions for having a podcast, but then when it came up in our mastermind of, well, what if, and Lauren, it was your idea, you said, well, why don't we all just do one? Honestly, it felt like the most natural thing in the world. And it has felt so good to me ever since.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that our listeners are going to hear more about that too. Like, we are all learning to, and in some ways very good at trusting our gut. And I think that's exactly what you're describing, Mel. Like, when Lauren threw that out, it was just like, it felt right for every one of us. And we were right out the gate. And I think that's something that'll be really fun to explore a little bit more, is like really trusting yourself and your intuition, and not mistaking fear for it being the wrong thing. That's so easy to do. Like, it can be scary and good. Like, gotta be able to pull those thoughts apart.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, scary and good. Yeah, no, that is entrepreneurship, I think, in a bubble. And if you ever get to the point where you're not scared, or you're not feeling like some level of discomfort, I think is where we need an up level, or like we're ready for some kind of expansion or growth, either in our business or just kind of in our thinking, or in like our networking. There's a lot of ways to expand there. But
no, that's awesome, Mel. I think so. Let's talk a little bit about what we're going to have on some of these episodes for our listeners too. I know one segment we mentioned today was weekly wins. It was created right in front of you all live. So that'll definitely be something we continue to do, is hearing from you as listeners. So we'll have a link from the podcast for you to be able to send us some voice notes and let us know what you're dealing with, what your wins are. We definitely want to hear from you. But I think one of the other things is that we're learning. We're learning too, and we're definitely going to talk more about that.
So, Jessie, what did you learn this week?
Oh, that's a good question. Lauren, I learned how to edit a podcast.
Like today, right?
Like today. Yes. I learned how to record a podcast, how to edit a podcast, how to upload a podcast.
Dude, you're like so iconic. That's
Absolutely.
incredible.
So I'm learning a lot about podcasting, but I will say too, in all seriousness, we are also learning how to list a house right now. So that's a big thing. I know I mentioned at the very beginning of this episode that we've been renovating a house that we've had tenants in for the last couple of years, and it's going to go live on the market 1 week from the time we were filming this episode. Yay. So in the next week, I'm going to learn a lot of things about listing a house.
What about you, Lauren?
Oh, that's a great question. What am I learning this week? I am learning about podcasts as well. And I'm also learning more about the video editing side of things, what platforms to use, how to create brands. And I've just been trying to understand how to start a YouTube channel for fitness. And then I'm also excited because I'm going to be talking to someone specifically about candles coming up. So just learning a little bit about the candle side of things. So I look forward to learning more and seeing what happens next week.
You've been the Canva queen this week, Lauren, so props to you. Canva is not a sponsor, but you could be Canva.
If you're listening.
Honestly, we're probably like their main users.
Right.
I feel like we talk about them every week.
Constantly.
Y'all got me hooked on Canva now, so thank you.
I was talking to a coworker today who introduced her brother to it, and she said her sister-in-law called her and was like, "Have you met your brother's new girlfriend, Canva?" So that was I was like, I can relate to this so much. It's bad. Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh my gosh. I love Canva. So this week, besides echoing all the podcast items that you mentioned, ladies, it's like a big win for me is I continue to revisit my YouTube videos and optimize my descriptions. And I'm seeing like a pretty big noticeable difference in my views since doing that. Which is like amazing because you do have like that really quantifiable difference between the views. But something additional to that is I've realized that you can break up your YouTube videos into chapters. So it'll have like a sort of on the progress bar, you can break it up and basically tell YouTube like introduction is the first minute and then the second minute is an overview of how to start a podcast and then so forth. So that was really fun, and it basically involves adding timestamps into the description. And then YouTube has this coding where they'll basically chunk up your video, and the benefit to that for the viewer is that the viewer can say, oh man, I don't know if I want to watch a 13-minute video to get to the punchline. So instead they can scroll their mouse across the progress bar and go, oh, I'm going to click directly to that chapter and it's going to give me the 90 seconds that I need to find the solution to my problem or something like that. So that's really exciting, and it's it's the little things. it's not a big one, but I was really happy to find that out. And the other thing is I'm exploring putting my blog posts on medium.com. And yeah, so our friend from grad school, Nick, was kind of telling me about Medium and how that has potential for really high readership. And you can also I think you get paid a couple cents per click or per read, but just as a way to sort of get my message across the interwebs a little more effectively. So I'll be looking into that this week.
Very cool. So much stuff to learn constantly.
Absolutely.
One thing that we've talked about bringing in our episodes too is a like quick tip. So we mentioned several softwares just then, and that we all kind of have different ones that we've gotten adept with, like Mel and I know Lauren are really diving into YouTube. That gives me anxiety. So they can teach you about YouTube.
You
But
can do it, Jessie.
one day. But we'll definitely be bringing those quick tips too. So if you're listening and there's a software that you really want to know more about, or you have a really specific question, we'll do some deep dives as well. Maybe we've even talked about maybe some mini episodes that are just about that one little software, that one little topic. So we can help learn. Like Mel said, we'll learn alongside you in these different areas. I know one other component we haven't introduced too is that it's going to be just us on the show a lot, but we'll also bring some guests on as well. And I'm really excited to bring, we've talked a lot about other women and really how much we've benefited from growing our circles and lifting each other up. That was a big theme we talked about today. So I think this is also going to be a cool opportunity for us to meet some new women who are doing really amazing things. Lauren said she's talking to another candle business this week who maybe will be a guest in the future. Who knows? We'll see where it takes us. Well, this will be great. Gals, anything else before we close up episode 1 of Imposter Women?
Whew, got through imposter syndrome. Starting a podcast. Just want to let you know I'm having physical reactions over here to starting a podcast. So it's stepping out of your comfort zone, and you can do it.
Yeah. I'm a little sweaty too, but I just want to say, Lauren, everything you said today was like freaking snaps.
Awesome.
Like, and it always is. I don't know why you worry about it, because like you say stuff like, and it sounds like the oracle speaking, and we're all just like, yes, preach.
Thanks. You're so sweet.
100%. Well, ladies, we did it. Episode 1 of Imposter Women. To everyone listening, we cannot wait to be back with episode 2. Hit that subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening, and we'll see you soon. Thank you so much for listening to episode 1 of Imposter Women. Please subscribe to Imposter Women on whatever platform you listen to podcasts: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or Stitcher. We don't want you to miss a single episode, and subscribing helps us grow the podcast. You can send us a message at imposterwomen@gmail.com or message us on our webpage, anchor.fm/imposter-women. We really want to hear from you. We'd love to have your notes on the show and to hear your feedback from the episode. We hope you enjoyed this episode and are leaving feeling inspired, uplifted, and ready to overcome your fears and chase your dreams unapologetically.